G'day collectors, Rob here for another episode of Aussie Diecast Reviews. Hope you're all doing well and I hope you're enjoying the show. Sorry I haven't been posting videos lately, I've been a little bit busy with work, so hopefully I can post a few more episodes in the coming weeks. So first up, the 2016 Bathurst 1000 has been run and won, and as always it was a great race. Probably in the last 20 laps or so the race came alight and the finish was a real nail biter. A little bit of controversy at the end there with 888 and the Volvos and HRT, but it's all done now. But well done to Will Davison and Jonathan Webb on the win. And it's just another Bathurst winner for the collection, and I think Bonnet will have the license to make the model, so that's awesome news. So for episode 10 today, we'll be going back into the early 1990 eras of Australian motorsport, and we'll also be looking at a Bathurst winning car. Also, I'll be reviewing or comparing two models as well, so they are the same car but they're different model companies. So if you were watching the Bathurst 1000 a couple of weeks ago, you would have noticed the number 23 Nissan Altima of Michael Caruso running a special livery on the car. The livery was to mark 25 years since Mark Skafie and Jim Richards won the 1991 Bathurst 1000 and the R32 Nissan GTR Skyline, or Godzilla as it was known here in Australia. Now from the year 1987 to say 1992 we're known here as the turbo era here in Australia. So you had turbocharged Ford Sierras and four-wheel drive turbo Nissans against the traditional Holden Aussie V8 Commodore. And say from 1990 to 1992 the Nissan GTR absolutely destroyed the competition. I mean these things were just unstoppable. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So let's get stuck into it and I'll kick it off and I'll be reviewing these cars here. Sweet. Alrighty, so as I said I have two model cars for today's episode. So we have two 118 R32 Nissan Skyline GTRs. The teams is Gibson Motorsport Australia or Nissan Motorsports Company Australia, and the drivers are Jim Richards and Mark Skafie. These cars are both based off the 1991 Bathurst 1000. And as I said, they are Bathurst winning cars for 1991, so they're a part of the Bathurst 1000 winners collection or the Nissan collection. Now both of these models are made from very different model companies. So you have Kyosho, or I think that's how you say it, or Kyosho and Bonnet, that's the one at the top. And then you have AutoArt, and that's just that one there. So there will be some differences between tooling, detail and paintwork for both of these models. So that's what we'll be looking at today, and I'll give my honest opinion on both models. So without further ado, let's have a bit of a look at what this car did. 25 years ago this October, the Nissan GTR Skyline made its mark in the Australian Touring Car Championship and the Bathurst 1000. Nicknamed Godzilla by Wheels Magazine Australia after the Japanese movie monster, Fred Gibson would head the Nissan Motorsport race team with Jim Richards and a young Mark Skafie as their drivers. After Nissan dominated the 91 Australian Touring Car Championship with both Jim Richards and Mark Skafie finishing respectively first and second, the Nissan team set their sights for the Bathurst 1000. For the 91 great race, the field would be a mix of turbocharged Ford Sierras and the traditional Aussie Holden V8. 91 had improved the Nissan's performance such that it was now lapping Mount Panorama 2 seconds quicker than its previous car in 1990. Since the chase had been installed in 1987, the fastest qualifying time for a Group A touring car around Mount Panorama had to that point been a 2:13.84, set by a Ford Sierra in 1990. For 1991, however, Mark Skafie smashed that time and recorded a time of 2 minutes 12.63 to put the GTR in pole position, hitting 293 km per hour down Conrod Straight in the process. The race saw Jim Richards take the start and make a sluggish getaway, handing Mark Gibbs a brief moment of glory to lead the privateer GIO GTR for a couple of laps. But the number 1 GTR would be untouchable. The Skyline would cruise to a one-lap victory from 1990 Bathurst winner of Alan Grice and Win Percy. Nissan would take their first Bathurst 1000 win, Jim Richards would take his 4th win, and Mark Skafie would also take his first win as well. For the 1991 great race, Godzilla certainly left its mark on the mountain. And now let's look at the models. Alrighty, on to the models. First up, we'll start with box details. So we'll start with the Bonnet and Kyosho one. So Back in the early 2000s, Bianchi ran a old, I think it was just an old model line of Bianchi Classics, they used to call them. But other than that, you've got the Bathurst winners logo there with the Nissan Skyline GTR. Then you have the picture of the Skyline. And then underneath the car, or underneath the box, you will see Bianchi model cars and produced and manufactured by Kyosho Corporation. So I'm pretty sure Bianchi was just a distributor and Kyosho ended up making the actual model. And it is an official licensed product of Gibson Motorsport Australia. So that is that box. Then we'll move on to the AutoArt. So with the AutoArt box, pretty much it's just a rendering of the model. It's nothing special. You've got the top, the side, yeah, nothing special about that. So that's the model boxes. Now we'll have a look at the certificates and flyers for both of these models. Alrighty, so with the Kyosho or Bianchi version, you'll get a certificate of authenticity. So limited edition of 4,626 of 135. Certificate is not signed unless you go out to the race. As I said, you go to the race meetings, or you have to meet the drivers in person. So you will get that. You also get the collectible flyer. So with the collectible Bianchi flyer, as always, it just gives you a rendering of the model with the old Godzilla, and it gives you the information about the car, what it did. And as always, if you do end up buying this model, make sure you always get these because they are collectible. So that is it. That is for the Bianchi version and Kyosho version. Now for the AutoArt version, you get nothing. Now the reason why you don't get a certificate for the AutoArt version, in a way it is a re-release of this model, so there is a limited edition of 1,000 worldwide. So yeah, there wasn't. I guess I can see where they're coming from. They're not going to, give you another certificate for a car that's already been released. So for the AutoArt version, yeah, you just get the model in the box. So other than no special flyer. So yeah. So now we'll move on to the models. Alrighty, time to reveal these cars for you, and there you go. So the Nissan R32 GTR Skyline. These cars originally made their race debut in the year 1990 with Gibson Motorsport. And from memory, Nissan won the 1990 Australian Touring Car Championship with the Nissan Skyline HR31 GTS, I'm pretty sure, with Jim Richards. Drove in the first 6 rounds of the championship. Then they introduced the R32 Skyline halfway through the season. So yeah, as soon as these cars were introduced, they were absolutely unstoppable. I mean, the only thing that could even get close to them was the Ford Sierras, or if they would, have a mechanical failure, which was pretty often sometimes. They would run the boost too high and they would just shit themselves. So other than that, they were bulletproof. So come 1991, the 4-wheel drive twin turbo cars nicknamed Godzilla were producing approximately around 640 horsepower plus, 30 psi of boost, or I think it's 1 or 2 bar of boost. Although the Nissans were made to carry an extra 15 kilos to bring the total weight of 1,360 kilos, so they were the heaviest car on the grid, just because of the sheer power of these things had over the rest of the field. But it didn't stop the bloody things from running away and from the field and winning everything. So plus being 4-wheel drive, when it rained they didn't really need to stop, for wet weather tyres. But not only that, Nissan had 2 top drivers to steer these things with Mark Skafie and Jim Richards. 2 legends of the motorsport here in Australia. Both drivers having a lot of success with Nissan Motorsport Company. Mark Skafie started his career in a Nissan. He didn't really start it in a Holden. He started in a Nissan, and he's had a lot of success with Nissan. Alrighty, so as always, I'll start with the front of the car and I'll work my way around with details and so forth. So we have the Kyosho or Bianchi model on the right, That's that one there, and then we have the AutoArt version on the left. So first off the mark with both cars, I'll start with the actual ride height. With the AutoArt version, it suffers from up and down wheels. There's not a lot of camber on the cars. Well, actually on both cars really. One thing probably is the Bonnet version, it sits up a lot higher than say the AutoArt version. But as for cosmetic wise, they're very, very similar. One thing with the Kyosho version is the tyres actually, they stick out a lot more compared to the AutoArt version as well. But other than the details, both cars come with tow cables. Decals are very, very, very similar. Same. The Bonnet version might be a little bit bigger, but all in all, very, very similar style of the front of the car. Alright, so moving on to the bonnets and the engines and the top of the car. So one thing you'll notice straight away is the size of the number 1 on the Bonnet version compared to the AutoArt version. Obviously this one's a lot more bigger. To be honest, I think the AutoArt version is a lot more accurate in number size. The other bonnet details are the detailed engine pins or latches. Very, very similar. The Bonnet version might be a lot more bigger. But other than that, still both cars come with emergency fire extinguishers. With the decals there. Yeah, very, very similar style. The actual side mirrors are they're a lot more different compared to the Bonnet version. They're a lot more, let's say, stable, and the AutoArt, I don't know what it is about AutoArt side mirrors. They're always very cheap and flexible, whereas these ones are a lot more stable. But yeah, other than that, very, very similar paint details, and actually the paint might be a little bit darker on the Bonnet one, but other than that, it's just the number ones, the numbers on the bonnet. Alrighty, so we'll move on to the engine bays and we'll do the bonnet test. We'll start with the AutoArt version. It doesn't stay up, but with the AutoArt version you get this. The bonnet stick, this will help it stay up instead of using a toothpick, so yeah, look at that, it'll stay up. So that is the AutoArt version. Now we'll move on to the Kyosho or Bonnet version. I don't think this is going to stay up, but no. Alrighty, so I've just put a toothpick in the Bonnet version. So with the engine bays, or with the actual Nissan engines, it was a 2.6 litre twin turbo all-wheel drive Nismo engine. As I said, these things would produce a staggering 640 horsepower, which was, a lot back then for touring cars anyway. Yeah, with close to 30 psi of boost, or I think it was 2 or 1 bar of boost running through their veins. So yeah, they were very powerful race engines, very, very, very powerful. Gibson Motorsport made all their engines and components like turbos and all that in-house as well. So this car had been given some Australian engineering as well. So with detail wise, you've got all the turbos in there and all that, all the plumbing and tubing. I'll probably have to say the AutoArt version would have to be a lot more accurate and than say the Bonnet version. Look, this version here is a lot more older than this one. This one was only released a couple of years ago. But yeah, a lot of differences between, like, you've got the anti-roll bar there across the front of the engine, whereas the Bonnet version doesn't have it. But both cars, they're both very, as I said, they're both very different. The radiator's set up a lot more different in the Auto version, oh, excuse me, compared to the Bonnet version. It's set a lot more lower. There's actually a very big gap here compared to the AutoArt version as well. So yeah, detail wise, I think it goes to AutoArt. It looks a lot better as well than the Bonnet or Kyosho version, but the Kyosho version is not at all that bad, but yeah, for accuracy wise, AutoArt takes that one. So moving on to the side of the models, Paintwork and decal wise, probably very similar. With the Kyosho version and Bonnet version, there is a red pinstripe there. It is a lot more thinner than, say, the AutoArt version. But with the tyres, you get the Yokohama decals on both cars. I don't know if you can see it on the Bonnet version. But ride height, as I said, I think look, they're very similar, but I think the Bonnet version, it's a lot more bulkier than, say, the AutoArt version, as in size wise. Another thing with the wheels on the AutoArt version, they're a lot more detailed than, say, the Kyosho or Bonnet version. The Bonnet version, the wheels don't look right at all on this car. You can just see the differences between, say, the wheel nut on the AutoArt version compared to the Kyosho version. Plus the rims they're very bulky. To be honest, they just don't look right. Yeah, the AutoArt version seems to be a lot more accurate. Just looking at another side shot of the cars. So as I said, with these cars being all-wheel drive, sometimes they didn't really have to stop for wets when it rained, and I'm pretty sure they were all-wheel steer as well. If I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I seen that the other day. They were all-wheel steer. So yeah, some of the differences between the cars you can see it probably have to be just the decals. The AutoArt version might be a little bit bigger than the Bonnet version. As again, you can see what I say about the wheels. These ones, they're a lot more bulkier. But the paintwork, look, they're pretty much similar in the way of paintwork. I'm not going to pick at them too much. So again, as I said, these were Group A spec touring cars. Group A here in Australia was known here, as I said, it was known here as the Turbo era. And to be honest, it wasn't really a fan favourite with a lot of people. And you know what, I think slowly it's starting to creep its way back up into the Australian motorsport scene, which, you know, if it worked once and it didn't work, what's the use of bringing it back, I reckon. So I think they should just leave it the way it is. But anyway, getting off topic. But getting back to the models, these cars ran 14.8-inch brake rotors from the traditional standard 14-inch rotors, so they had to go up in brake rotors. Yeah, that's the side of the cars. I'll zoom out a little bit more. Very similar in paintwork. There's not a lot in paintwork. So we'll move on to the rear of the car now. Alrighty, so you have the AutoArt version on the left, Bonnet on the right. With the rear of the car, very similar style. Both get tow cables. Decals and paintwork are very much the same. Not a lot of differences. One thing with the AutoArt version, you get all the hoses there. I'm guessing that's for the, I don't know if that's for the suspension. Or with the Bonnet version, there's nothing there. So for the rear of the car, yeah, not a lot of differences between both cars. But we'll have a look at inside the fuel cell and the boot now. So looking at the top of the rear, one thing on the AutoArt version on the top of the car, I don't know if you can see it there, is pretty sure that's the transmission. As I said I think I said in another episode, this transmits the signal back down to the bottom of the mountain, because back then the transmission was, because how big Bathurst is, this was like a receiver for inside the race cam. Bonnet version don't get that, but yeah, AutoArt version you get one aerial, Bonnet version you get two. Other little features here, between both models, on the rear windscreen you get the Nissan decal. This is on the AutoArt version, it's white. On the Bonnet version it's black, with a lot of black trim. But other than that, both models come with the detailed rear window of the Rain-X. Both cars have got that. Both cars have the fire extinguisher logos. I don't know if you probably can't see it there. one thing as well, the AutoArt, that you get an aerial, Beanie you don't. So let's see if these boots stay up, AutoArt stays up, and the Beanie version stays up, so that's pretty interesting. So with the fuel cell, very, very similar. The AutoArt version feels a lot more, I wouldn't say cheap, but it feels a lot more better than say the Beanie version. And accuracy wise, I think it goes to AutoArt. Actually, I don't know if you can tell by the light here that the rear lights seem to be a lot more brighter than say the Beanie version. It might be just the way the camera's set up, but accuracy and detail wise, they're very, very similar. A lot of differences between the Beanie version. These seem, all the wiring and plumbing seem to be kind of like a cast bit of plastic, where the AutoArt version is a lot more detailed. Alrighty, so looking at the underneath the car, this is the Beanie version. Yeah, you got the diff there. There's the independent rear suspension there. Also with the Beanie version, you get the detailed jacks. This is where they would, you know, when the car jacks up when they change the tyres, so that's these things here. Dual exhaust system. So yeah, that's underneath the car, nothing special. Now we'll have a look at the AutoArt version. So just looking at the AutoArt version, probably a little bit more detailed underneath the model, especially with the exhaust system. It's a lot more metallic or metally, if that's a word. So there you got the engine bay or the gearbox there. So that is underneath the car. Now I'll move on to the interior of both cars. I think I'll do the Beanie version first. Now one thing with the Kyosho or Beanie version, there is no window screen in the driver's side or the passenger side door compared to the AutoArt version, but I'll show that. Another thing, you get the Skafie Richards decals there. So if I open up the door, show you the detailed interior. There you go. So with the Nissan GTR, not a whole lot of protection back in the early 90s compared to today's cars. I always say that, but it's always interesting seeing how the cars evolve safety wise. So you have the, pretty sure it was 5-speed or 6-speed gearbox there, all the detailed clutch accelerator. Now the, I don't know if they, is it that, yeah, I'm pretty sure this one, that was the switches for the all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, all that there. So there were the switches there, and I'm pretty sure the boost was maybe there. I'm pretty sure that's where the boost and the electronics were fitted into the cars. So yeah, basically not bad from Beanie and Kyosho. We'll have a look at the passenger side door now, and just looking at the passenger side door, the detailed Nissan logo there. Now these cars did run race cam, both models I'm pretty sure don't have it, so it is missing race cam, but yeah, other than that, nicely detailed interior on the Kyosho version and the Beanie version. So we have done that model. Now we'll move on to the AutoArt car. So moving on to the AutoArt car, it's a different kettle of fish. As I said, the AutoArt version comes with a sealed window screen for the driver's side, and to be honest, a lot more detailed than say the Kyosho or Beanie version. Some little features here, you've on the roll bar, there is these little, I don't know if there's like little copper wires attached to the roll bar with a little black wire there, so there's some of the little features. Steering wheel and dash seems to be a lot more better quality. Gearbox seems to be a lot more different, and as I said, I think the boost switches and all that, let it focus, there we go, were there, I'm pretty sure they were. Steering wheel has a Nissan logo as well, I don't know if you can see it there. That's pretty loose, that. Yeah, but other than that, I think for accuracy wise, I think it has to go to the AutoArt. Other little things here, it's got the production line, driver's side armrest and all that, the window rollers. So yeah, nicely done by AutoArt. We'll have a look at the passenger side door. So looking at the passenger side door, and again you have the Nissan decal there, but again no race cam in this model. So yeah, that was the interior on both models and overall detail. So I think I'll wrap it up now and I'll give my honest review about these models. Alrighty, time for my honest review about these cars. First up, quality. Look, both Kyosho and AutoArt models have very good quality traits about them. Detail on both cars are very high standard. The paint and the decals have been very well replicated, so you know, both models have very good high standards. Both cars have opening doors, bonnets and boots with detailed engine bays and interior. So yeah, all in all, very good detail and quality on both cars. That brings me on to detail. Now for detail wise and accuracy wise, both cars have some very different tooling aspects about them. Paint detail on both cars are spot on. Decals are both very similar, except maybe the size of the decals on the Kyosho version. But in my opinion, the AutoArt model offers a lot more in accuracy and detail wise than say the Kyosho or the Bonnet version. But look, that's my opinion. So yeah, detail wise and accuracy wise goes to AutoArt. That brings me to goods and bads. We'll start with goods and we'll start with the AutoArt car. That's this one here. So the AutoArt car, as I said, is a lot more accurate and more detailed with, say, the ride height and the wheels, plus the detailed engine bay and interior are a lot better quality than the Kyosho car. So yeah, you get a very detailed model compared to the Kyosho version. That brings me to bads for the AutoArt car. Not a whole lot of bads with the model. I would say it would have to be the lack of certificate and flyer, so you don't get the extra things compared to the Bonnet version. But as I said, this is a re-release of the AutoArt version is a re-release, so you're not going to get a certificate as for 1,000 release worldwide. So that brings me on to goods for the Kyosho version. Same as the AutoArt car, you get opening parts, detailed interior, paintwork is very spot on and similar. But yeah, with this one you get a certificate of authenticity and a collectible flyer. So with the Bonnet version you get a bit more bang for your buck. But moving on to bads for the Bonnet version, look, I think it's the wheels that let this car down. They just don't look right, to be honest. It makes the model look very bulky, and yeah, as I said, I think the AutoArt car takes the cake. That brings me on to price. Now the Kyosho or the Bonnet version I brought off my local hobby dealer back in 2004, I think it was 2004, 2005. Back then I paid $198. This car was released back in, I think it was maybe 2002, I think, or 2003. Oh, look, I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't remember when it was actually released, but yeah, I could be wrong. But yeah, it's not that old of a model. And the AutoArt version, this one here, I recently brought off eBay for an absolute steal, to be honest, for a Bathurst window. I paid $160, so the AutoArt version is a lot more cheaper for some reason. I don't know why. Now, the AutoArt car was only released back in 2014 or 2015 recently, so it's not an old model at all. Now, the asking price nowadays for the Kyosho version is still very high. They're going for around the $200 to $300 mark last time I looked. And the AutoArt version, like I said, there's not a whole lot. I mean, I picked this one up of dirt cheap, to be honest. Yeah, as I said, for a Bathurst winning car. Now, the reason I brought the AutoArt version, it comes down to accuracy and detail-wise as a collector. That's what I look for, so that's the reason I ended up buying the AutoArt version, just purely because of detail-wise and accuracy-wise. Yeah, that's what I look for. So with this one, I'm going to sell the Kyosho or the Bonnet version. I'll see what I can get for that. It probably won't be that much, but yeah, I'll see what I can get for it, and I'll let you know. So that brings me to eBay price. At the moment, the Kyosho version on eBay is going for around the $180 mark to $200 mark. And the AutoArt version, like I said, is going anywhere between $160 to $240 mark. So yeah, there's plenty of them out on there at the moment as well. So by the look of it, if you're not going to pay anything, you're not going to pay anything over $300 mark for these cars, unless it's personally signed by both drivers or it has a very low number. I'm talking about the Kyosho version, but yeah, for the AutoArt version, it's basically, there's an army of them out there on eBay at the moment. How rare is the car? Well, look, they are a Bathurst winning car. They're Nissan's first win on the mountain, Mark Skafie's first Bathurst win. There is a lot of things that make these cars a rare item. It's just that they're not that rare, to be honest. I mean, if you add it up, really, there's the Kyosho numbers, what are they? I think it's 4,626, and the AutoArt version is limited to 1,000 worldwide. So all up, there's 5,626 of these things out there. So they're not going to be that hard to find, to be honest. If anything, the AutoArt version, being only 1,000 worldwide release, has been produced. So, and in saying that, the Kyosho or the Bonnet version has dropped in price over the years now that the AutoArt version has been released. So, if you are starting a Bathurst collection, it's a model that's not going to be hard to find, to be honest. It's just which one you want to buy. Rating out of 10, I'll give the AutoArt version a solid 8 out of 10, and the Kyosho or Bonnet version a 7 out of 10. Look, both models have their goods and their bads, but in my opinion, the AutoArt car offers a lot more in detail and accuracy. And as I said, as a collector, that's what I want for my collection. So if you are a passionate collector and you're into that kind of side of it, go for the AutoArt version. But that's my honest opinion, and yeah, I would highly recommend it to you. So that's it for episode 10 today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to all the new subscribers that have joined the channel, and to everyone that watches the channel and comments and all that. So yeah, thank you very much. As I said, I'll try and post a few more in the coming weeks. I think I'll do some V8 Supercar Championship winners in the next one. So yeah, so that's it, guys. Thank you. Please subscribe and like and all that good stuff. And I'll catch you next time for another episode of Aussie Diecast Review. So catch ya.